Hi, I'm Bryan and welcome to another episode of Hiking with me. Today we're going to be starting off at Wymeswold, heading off to do the Six Hills Trig Point. We're going to be going over to Preston Hall, Welham on the Wold and back up to here for a pint at the end of the day. So hopefully we shouldn't be doing too many miles, roughly about 8, maybe 9 miles. It's not the best of days, it's a little bit overcast, but perfect weather for an early morning walk. The little thatched cottage. It looks like it's not long been done. We're just heading out of Wymeswold on Main Street. Then we're going to be turning right onto Church Street, which will obviously take us up onto the church. We begin our walk at the Windmill Inn, a cosy village pub. From here, it's a short wander to St Mary's Church, Wymeswold. This isn't just any church. The stonework looks serene in daylight, but if you peek closely, you'll spot Apotropaic marks scratched into the doorway, protective symbols against witches and spirits. Inside, we're going to look for the Green Man carving, and also there should be signs of the Beaver Angel around here. The church also holds stained glass by Charles E. McCabe, whose angel figures glow with rich Victorian colours. Some walls once carried painted murals of Charles Vaillant, now faded, but remember in sketch. The tower dates the 14th century, and the bells, some cast from medieval metal, still ring across the village. Oh, well, here's the Beaver Angel. Didn't think you'd actually have the Beaver Angel in the Leicestershire Wolds, but that's another spotting of the Beaver Angel. I'm not going to count, because I've lost count. I'm actually watching all my videos to find out which one this is, but there's the benchmark at St Mary's Church. I think this might be 28. So that's the benchmark at St Mary's Church. We're now going to have a look inside. Unfortunately, we can't get in this church, so we're going to come back at the end. Once we leave the church, we head down the Stockwell to Brook Street, and we cross down to the Mantle Croft. Actually, I think it's just called Mantle Croft. The Mantle looks like a tastefully new build area. So once you've been down Mantle Croft, you come into what looks like an old farmyard, although it doesn't look like it's been used for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. And you just follow this easy path, I hope. Actually, I think we go that way. Once you've gone across the field, we get onto Burton Lane, which is hopefully a quiet track. We'll be following down here until we get to the edge of Wymeswold Airfield, which is now disused. You carry on walking down Burton Lane past Wymeswold Industrial Estate, and once you pass there, there should be a footpath on the right-hand side somewhere. Hopefully when we get down there, it will be signposted. We now reach RAF Wymeswold. It was opened back in 1942 for Bomber Command training. It later saw trials of the Gloucester Meteor, one of the first jet engines. After the war from 1948 to 1958, the quarters became home to Polish refugees, many dotted around England. Families who had lost everything and began new lives here. Their children went to local schools, leaving traces of Polish heritage in the village life. The airfield didn't fall silent immediately. It later hosted motor racing and test tracks in the 1970s. Just over there is Burton on the Wolds that we'll be visiting later, once we've been to the church at Prestwold Hall and try to have a look around Prestwold Hall itself. Looks like we came across an apiary. Doesn't look like there's as many bees here as there was at the church in Braunton in Rutland. That was swarming, literally swarming bees. There's some hive activity. Trying to squeeze its arse out. Once you've gone past the apiary, you turn right up along here. In fact, I've just remembered I've not actually introduced who's on today's walk. Got Steve is with us today. He's decided that he'd like to come out for a walk. do a bit of exploring. So this path should take us over to Prestwold Hall and the church. Got to watch out for this branch. Then once you come out from that little bit, it's a nice easy path to follow, if not a little overgrown. Got this bridge, which goes over some river that I can't even remember what it's called. It smells very autumny round here, doesn't it? We're now heading towards Prestwold Hall, an elegant Georgian mansion. Its sweeping parklands was influenced by William Andrews Nesfield, one of the great Victorian garden designers. Once you've walked around the edge of the airfield, well, the disused airfield, you come out onto Prestwold Lane, and we're going into, basically, I think this is actually Prestwold Village, or we're on the edge of Prestwold Village. Another quaint little village. Oh, what a place to live, really. So it's just walking through Prestwold now, or Prestwold Village. Just by the look, we found another trig point on the Sunday School House in Prestwold. That's a nice little find. Then we get back under the grounds of Prestwold Hall, opposite the trig point, sorry, opposite the benchmark. And we're going to head over towards the church now. Nearby is Prestwold Church. It sits quietly amongst the yews. Inside, hopefully we should find effigies of the Pack family, lord of the hall for generations. If you look closely, you'll find more green men carvings tucked amongst the stonework, foliate faces whispering of rebirth and nature's cycle. Folklore tells of strange lights flickering amongst the yews at dusk, which I think it would actually be quite a creepy place at night. In fact, I wonder if we could actually go up there. But we just came down from there. Obviously, I never understand what's graffiti and what's actually Apotropaic markings, but I'm sure
2011.
Amongst all these, yeah, you've got modern witchcraft over there, but I'm sure there's some stuff here that might be of importance. Like, I'm not too sure what that would be. That looks of some significance. But I think it's time to look for the benchmark, which has got to be around here somewhere. Don't see many of these on the churches. A place for you in the old days for them to clean their boots. Looks like there's been a wedding around here recently with all this confetti. Well, we walked past it several times. So here's the possibly 28th benchmark at St Andrew's Church near Prestwold Hall, just next to the porchway. And all the Apotropaic markings. Let's see if we can actually get in. Unfortunately, no. Well, unfortunately, we got to St Andrew's Church and it's closed. It's amazing how many of these churches are closed. You'd have thought, being of a religious place, they'd be open 24/7 just in case you needed it. In doing my research, it came up about the Beaver Angel. I'm thinking, we're in the Leicestershire Wolds, nowhere near the Vale of Beaver, so there won't be any Beaver Angels on these gravestones. But I wonder, that's quite an impressive one. So as you leave the church, it's an easy path to follow, although we struggled to find it first. When I say we, I struggled to find it. Steve soon spotted it. So we're leaving the church behind now. And let's just head over to this stile, which will be coming up to Prestwold Hall soon. From this distance, Prestwold Hall seems frozen in time. It looks peaceful now, but its grounds have witnessed centuries of change. You can still make out outlines of all park boundaries, quiet paths lined with ancient yews, and a faint trace of gardens long forgotten. Actually walk around the edge of the field, you'll see another yellow way marker and a gate. We go through here, and this should bring us to the back end of Burton on the Wolds. We're just going through old woods before we get to Burton on the Wolds now. As you can see, it's a well-maintained path, easy to follow. We'll be coming into the back end of Burton on the Wolds. There's a pub in Burton on the Wolds, but there's no church to look at, and we've not had much luck looking at the churches. We have found several benchmarks, but this time it's going to be just walking straight through and heading off out on the Melton Road towards the Six Hills Trig Point. This is an interesting thing. No idea what this is all about, but I think Steve's found something. Also, it's like a little culvert. With that, I'll have to find out what this actually says. It looks like it says Prestwold on there. Then once you came down Seymour Road, you go onto Book Street and you turn left, just down here. Then I think just further down there, you turn right. Once you get to the end of Huntingdon Close, you get onto Melton Road. We turn in left here, and we follow this road, unfortunately, all the way to the Trig Point. I know full well that there won't be a path all the way down here, but there's the path, there's the pub, the Greyhound Inn. Obviously way too early for that. So I think it's about 1.5 miles to 2 miles down here, but then it's only a short walk back to the car. We've just left Burton on the Wolds, and it's about a 3-mile walk along the Melton Road, which isn't the quietest of roads, to the Six Hills Trig Point. There's quite a few cars, but obviously there won't be any while we're filming, but we're just going past the Chinese restaurant now, which looks quite nice. Well, when you look at the roof, it looks like it's going to be Chinese, but it's actually an Indian restaurant. We're getting close to the Trig Point now. We're coming off the Melton Road, going into the woods. We've found a bit of a path around here, probably going to be in completely the wrong direction, but by rights, the Trig Point should be over there somewhere, I'm hoping. Well, we've made it through there, so the Trig Point should be down here somewhere, probably back in there. This Trig Point's not the easiest one to find. Obviously I've got the tree in front, but if you go around this tree, you actually see it, it actually stands out quite easily. So that's my 41st Trig Point. That's the Six Hills Trig Point. It's not in the best place, a little bit overgrown. The views, if woods are your thing, then this is the ideal spot. But not as bad as doing Wolf Fox Trig Point, but it's definitely as challenging. Looks like it was a jigsaw puzzle and it's all been glued back together again. But as you can see, the spider is intact. Got the benchmark, S4907. Could do a little bit of TLC, bit chipped, but that's 41 trig points. This area has been important for millennia. Six Hills takes its name from the cluster of prehistorical burial mounds later used by the Romans as a settlement site. By the 18th century, it became a busy coaching stop on the turnpike to London. Then once you left the trig point and walked through the woods and across the field, you'll come to another way marker. There's a little gap through here in a bridge that takes you into another field, and I'm sure we'll be crossing many fields. But I'm sure we're going to head over to that pylon over there. We're sort of taking some random routes, but we should have came from over that area, that yellow way marker there, and came across here, and then come back over here. The path along here isn't very well maintained. We've got to get through this one now, and as you can see, it's loads of thorns on there. I'll let Steve go through first, he's the professional.
Cheers, mate.
Well, we're now, do you want me to go first? We're now coming into a field where there's a bull, supposedly a bull. More likely, oh, we're being stared at. Hello. Do you mean business? Hello. Once you've gone through all the fields, you'll come up to Lodge Farm. Just before you get there, you go to a diagonal angle and you head across the field. We should soon be on Narrow Lane. Then once we're on Narrow Lane, we're not going to be far from Wymeswold and the waiting pint. We're now on Narrow Lane after walking through the fields and trying to struggle through those hedges. We've got roughly about 2 miles to go before we get back to Wymeswold and for a nice refreshing pint. Just come up to 10 miles and I think we've still got about another mile to go before we get back to Wymeswold. Just done 11 miles coming back into Wymeswold. Yeah, plenty of weeping willows along here. So that's the River Mantle just down there. Nice little bridges crossing over the other side. Oh, well, we took a second look at the church to see if we could actually go inside, but unfortunately, still locked. So now heading back to the car. That's my 41st trig point done, the Six Hills Trig Point, starting off at Wymeswold, heading down to Prestwold Hall and to the trig point. Unfortunately, we didn't get into any of the churches because they were locked up, but we managed to get quite a few benchmarks. But we just had a pint at the pub, had another look at the church to see if we could get in there, but unfortunately we couldn't. But that's it for today. We've done just over 11.5 miles. If you enjoyed this walk, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and bye.